On today's show, I sat down with a good friend of mine, the social entrepreneur, as he likes to call himself, and he goes by the name of Kevin. Kevin is an individual I met 3 to 4 years ago, and to say the least, we've been cool ever since. The man is not afraid to voice his opinions. Someone who's not afraid to hold his tongue. Someone who is always going to tell it like it is. And that's why I appreciate him so much for coming on to the show, because we definitely had that back and forth, which was so much fun. And not only that, I actually got the chance to see a different side of Kevin, because, you know, apart from being a straight shooter that he is, he's very much of a softie, which is something not a lot of us will know, especially if you know him. But he's a caregiving individual, and I'm actually honored to call him a friend. And I can't wait for you guys to hear this episode, basically. So I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I hope you guys enjoy today's episode.
My speech that he loves here.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's what's up. Welcome back, guys. We got Kevin in the building.
Yo, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm actually excited to be here.
Yeah.
Been wanting to be here.
No, you've been stolen.
Yeah, also. But I'm finally here, and hopefully it's not gonna be the last time.
Nah, definitely won't, man. I'm the one that actually reached out to you initially. So, no, for real.
No. Cool.
But other than that, how you been, man?
Nah, been okay.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Chilling, man. I'm trying to build this podcast, you know, the usual.
Oh, we need more of this. So,
Yeah.
not sure why you're taking your time also. Like,
wow, man. Nah, but we're definitely we're doing something. This is just the beginning for me anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I know with a little more effort and support, love, which I'm already getting, so it's only a matter of time.
it's not a little love. I've seen the responses. I've seen the,
Yeah.
and it's quite positive. It's quite huge support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't wait. I told everybody, or at least I told myself, by the end of the year, I want 10,000 subscribers.
To the channel.
To the channel itself, the YouTube channel itself. And I'm like, I don't think it's far-fetched, to be honest.
No, it's not.
No?
It's not.
I just need that love. I just need that support, bro.
You just need to keep on pushing. Because, I mean, there will be lows. There will be, I'm sure you had difficulty starting off at first.
Definitely.
And you started, but also does not mean that you won't get stuck somewhere. So, yeah, just keep on pushing constantly.
Appreciate the word of advice or the words of wisdom.
I wouldn't call
them.
Wisdom comes with age. So
hey man, we're fairly. Hey man, we got game to spread. Don't worry about that. But other than that, man, Kevin, I met you through a friend of a friend, and I don't know. Since then, it's actually been like a roller coaster because I've met you a couple of times. It's always been like an interesting interaction.
Yeah.
But for those that don't know and that want to know, who is Kevin?
Yeah. I feel like that's the most difficult question
I know.
one could ever answer.
Just keep it simple.
Kevin is a social entrepreneur.
Ooh.
Yeah, basically.
You just come up with that shit by yourself? Or
Nah. So we all know what an entrepreneur is.
Yep.
But then you have the social side of life. The poverty, the economic lows. So I've been involved in charity since childhood, and that's basically what I do for a living. Make sure that other people are fine. Make sure other people live an okay life.
So you've basically always been like a caregiver? Is that right?
Yeah, you could call it that. Basically.
No.
Yeah, you could call it that. But I run an organization that just does charity work, and the idea is to take care of people.
Yeah,
and not just take care of them, because you don't want to give people the idea that they'll be given something for the rest of their lives, but also to teach them sustainability.
That's true.
Yeah.
A lot of people. What's the quote? I can lead you to water, but I can't force you to drink it.
Yep, teach a man
How to fish or something like that.
he'll have fish for the rest of his life.
There we go.
Yes, something like
Oof, I fucked up there a bit. But like on your Twitter bio, I don't know. Have you seen your Twitter bio? Like you're all over the place. Because I saw you.
Wait, what does it say?
Okay, you're studying engineering, poet, dancer, musician. It's a blogger, dude. You have so much going on. How do you keep a sharp mind with all these things going around?
It's probably what keeps me sane. Being busy. Because I go crazy when I'm not doing anything, or at least when I'm not being productive. Rather, yeah.
Fair enough.
So, there's the academic side, the engineering.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare, honestly.
Why engineering? Look, I ask these questions because I don't know. I've seen a lot of people that have not succeeded in engineering, and they just took it on as a social pressure.
Yeah, but it's different for me because I started off with politics and law, and I finished that because that was a passion. See, so
so wait, the engineering is like your second degree?
Third. Yeah.
What are the first two?
The first two, the first one being Bachelor of Arts in Politics, and the other one being a Bachelor of Law. So those are 2 degrees on their own, and now I'm doing engineering specializing in telecommunications. Yes.
Wow.
So I used to be a sciencey kid on school, taking part in science fair and doing the experiments, and that, I loved that. But then there was the passion to always help people. So when I was in my last grade, I was like, but I won't be able to help people through engineering or through doing something sciencey, So
you don't think so? I mean, you always create something.
Yeah, but we're speaking of charity and teaching people sustainability.
Yeah.
And I mean, we look at doctors and engineers today, and they mostly just go to work and go home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Basically, they just go work.
Okay.
Yeah, and they basically don't have a life also.
They don't know how to socialize. Some of them, man.
So that's why I opted for the 2 first, and the engineering. I was like, okay, cool. I have more time. I'm quite older now, so also I could handle the pressure better.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, okay, cool. Let's try this out. First year down, I was like, it's working, but it's hell. It's not easy. You need to stay focused, because I see people drop every day.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but I also feel it's, as you mentioned, social pressure. Yeah, our especially black homes, we don't believe in other careers besides those that have been portrayed as proper careers.
Yeah, professional. Yeah. My mom wanted me to take law.
And how'd that go?
I was like, fuck no, I'm not gonna take law. Like I had a knack for history. I'm good. Now, I don't mean to flatter myself, but I'm good. But I was just like, I know it's not gonna be like as satisfying as doing something else.
Yeah.
So now, obviously, I got into business, and that was completely different. I still have my reservations about it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe I'll share that. I don't know. I have my reservations because here's my thing, especially when it comes to university, or just some of these schools. In my case, we're taught how to write business proposals, all that shit.
Yes.
And one thing I always picked out was the fact that yes, we're taught to write business proposals, but we're not taught how to write winning business proposals. Because at the end of the day, these are academics. These are not necessarily people who have experience in the field.
True.
So I always felt like certain things should be really practical, especially if you're offering entrepreneurship in schools. That shit should be hella practical, because that's the only way people are actually going to pick up things as far as don't do this, or at least don't do that. So for me, anyways, to be fair, business admin was dope. I'm graduating this year, so I'm happy about it.
But that's weird, because a lot of people say business admin is hell.
If you don't like it. To be fair, you just have to build a knack for it. At least what I was doing, I was already applying some of the theories.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what made things that much more interesting.
Yeah.
I was already applying what I was reading and learning and writing about in tests and stuff. So I was like, all right, fair enough.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But we went off topic. It was about you, not me.
I mean, the experiences that we share is important.
Very true. But as an engineering student right now, because dude, look, I'll consider you a social butterfly. Is that fair to say?
Is it?
It's not a bad thing. It's just the fact that I consider you a social butterfly, and I know the stress that comes along with engineering students. Like we mentioned before, a lot of people are dropping out like crazy. How do you even balance that?
There is a secret. Came from a very wise man. Weirdly, he was my principal at the time, but was also a principal of my cousins, so he knew the family quite well.
Okay.
And one day he just called me in and he's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. And he's like, can I see your progress, school performance? And I showed him, and he's like, why would you have 6 subjects on high level? And I was like, wow, because
that's what I do.
Yeah, I wanna,
Yeah,
I wanna have good marks, and I wanna enroll for a good course.
Yeah.
And he said, well, that's the thing, you need to learn to balance life. So his advice was downgrade, even if you have to downgrade half of them. If you can downgrade all of them,
do it.
And that's what I did, because it gave me time to socially interact with people, to have a social life, to take part in cultural activities, extramural activities, you know. That's where I started playing tennis. That's where I started, going to events, conferences, whatever, you name it. And I had the time for it because my books weren't pressuring me as much. And that sort of helped me or shaped me to be able to cope now, because now I know how to balance. So I just think people should learn to balance their lives.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressures, man.
Yeah, because you get to varsity and there's all the social pressures around. So when you don't know how to cope with that, it automatically affects your academic performance, and I think that's where we lack.
Yeah, because even when you look at kids who come from these rural areas, crazy A marks, all the way, and then they get exposed to the city, and it's just they just a downward spiral from there. And I can vouch for it because I've seen it. Right?
Exactly.
Because it's scary, man. Because this person was, not goody two shoes, but the smart person, the kid in the corner, and now it's like, fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do about it, but we're definitely gonna try give people advice on it.
I guess so. It's like coming to Windhoek. You're in the city, it's big, new experiences, and then you try something on the social side of life, and you like it, but then you don't know how to get out of it. That's because you don't know how to balance. You basically get trapped in it. But that's because you don't know how to balance. You don't know when to say it's enough. I need to go back to my books, or I need to go back to work. It's the same thing that we say about people who stay away from work because of alcohol. The alcohol is not going to go anywhere. It's going to be there forever. Like, guys, come on.
Yeah, it's true. No, you're right. But how have you managed to dodge all these pitfalls, all these traps?
Probably because I see what people go through, and that's not the kind of life that I want, especially for myself, for my family. And I want my kids and their kids to have an okay life, not necessarily well off, but an okay life, because the way things are going right now, it's quite scary. The rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer.
That's always been happening, though, if you think about it.
Yeah, but then people are given an opportunity to get out of certain situations and they still screw up. And not because a lot of times they don't want to, but because probably society has
other plans for them,
or society pressures them into, you know, doing a certain something, and that's where a lot of people fail. So I think ultimately, like, you know, if you're determined and if you know what it is that you want, then yeah, sure, you can make it. You can have fun and also know when not to have fun.
When is it enough? It's a question.
Yeah. When is it enough? It's a good question, but you within yourself would also know. There's that little voice that always.
But you see, we can say these things because we're fairly older, and we've done the thing. So, I mean, a young person probably listening to this would be like, y'all don't know what we're dealing with, because we were in the same mentality back then, telling our parents or our older siblings, like, y'all don't know what I'm going through. But to be fair, with all the information floating around in the world right now at a fast pace,
exactly.
Learn, guys. Just pick up a book or listen to the older cats, man. They're not there to lead you astray.
Yeah.
Some of them really understand that. Look, I understand you're young, you want to party, and do all these weird things, but limit that shit to some degree.
True. And they're exposed to so much with the technology, which we didn't have back then. You know, the Instagrams and the social medias. No, it's
we had Facebook, at least us. Okay. No, we didn't have Facebook. Facebook only came.
No, I mean, I remember E250s, and people will never understand the pain of having to delete the song to get another song. You know,
couldn't afford the memory card. You're like, oh, I gotta delete these 2 songs, and
exactly.
Oh man, those were good times.
Back then, I mean, this was just getting to know technology, and there wasn't all this, you know, social media. Yes, Facebook was there, but we weren't quite familiar with Facebook.
Yeah, not yet.
So now you've got all the exposure at the tip of your fingers. Going onto your phone, Googling, I have this issue, and trying to get advice, if not from your peers, at least from the internet.
Yeah, you'll definitely find something.
Yep, you'll definitely find something.
Oh man, E250s. Yo, you just took me back, bro. You took me way back.
I mean, I still have one. It doesn't work, but I keep it for the sake of memories.
Oh, it's like a little souvenir, just, you know.
Yeah.
I would love to own one. I don't know if I still have mine.
You should look for
it. I think I should.
You should look. Just keep it as a souvenir. Go show your kids one day.
Yeah, we used to have slide phones. You know, it wasn't just a tap. Oh man. Oh well. But yeah. Back to you. Being the social butterfly that you are. Think you should get a shirt that says that. Yeah. You should get a shirt that says social butterfly. I think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear that because it's not controversial. I like wearing shirts that speak controversy.
Why you gotta be a controversial dude, man?
Sometimes you just need to stir up people's mindset. Just why would that guy wear something like that? Just have them think a bit. Maybe he is right by the statement that's written on his shirt. Maybe he's not right.
Speaking of controversy, have you come across these situations where people are being sued for like defamation and stuff, and like a couple of accusations towards the first lady?
Yes, actually, I think it should become a thing here.
Why?
You know, I have a friend, a very close friend, and when she was in Germany, she successfully sued a guy. Okay, basically he was being racist towards her. But yeah, she got 5k euros from that lawsuit. Yeah.
That was how far long was that? How much is 5k?
Like 2-3 years back. 2-3 years back.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, this guy was like, yeah, you're a student, you're not gonna do anything to me.
Oh wow.
And she was like, oh, okay, we'll see about it. and she won the case actually. And I think because it's emotionally, psychologically, it's very damaging to defame somebody's character, especially when what you say has no truth to it. You know, you have those of us who can walk away from something somebody has said to you, but you have people who go home and cry about it. They won't necessarily cry in front of you, but they'll go cry about it, you know, and they start having a self-pity mentality towards themselves, because now that phrase keeps running in their heads, and they start also feeling that way, so it also breaks down their confidence. So I think where it's serious, people should sue. But then we also have comedians in Namibia.
Exactly. So you see, that's where that thin line is drawn. It was a joke. No, it doesn't seem like it was a joke. Specifically for comedians, I feel like comedians should have the authority to say that, because if you think about it, comedians, they turn a tragic situation into something comedic, man, to make us laugh. They do. I believe they do. Yeah, man. I believe they do understand the seriousness of it, but they're trying to make you laugh because they're like, you know what, we don't need to drown in this sorrow. Yeah, let's make you smile a bit. Yeah. So what do you think about that now?
That is fine. That's fine. You know, you know, it comes from a comedic angle.
Exactly.
It's there's no harm intended with it. But then if it's not a joke, then we have a whole other situation. And also, you mentioned somebody might say it's a joke, but then I take it seriously. Yeah. So that's also where the line needs to be drawn, because people tend to say it's a joke. But then I tell them it's not a joke, and they'll still think it's a joke. Like, what the hell?
It's a thin line.
Yeah, it's a thin line. So at least apologize. If somebody says they don't like what you said, or they don't appreciate it, because then it should ring a bell that somewhere it did hurt their feelings.
I guess so.
But comedians, yes, they're allowed to bring laughter to our lives.
Yeah, well, they should. Oh, by the way, I was doing a little research on that 5K that your friend won. That's damn near 90,000, at least in today's currency. I don't know about back then, but
yeah,
that's close to
90. It was quite a lot of money.
Shit. She probably bought like a car or something.
I don't know what she did with it. I know she took me for lunch.
Of course she did.
But yeah, no, we were all like so happy like when she won that case, because like, you know, people think they can do whatever or say whatever and then just walk away from that.
Nah, people need to be held accountable for their shit, man. Especially here especially right now, with everything going on, a lot of things being exposed and all these things coming out to light. The reason why these guys continue to do the things that they do is because they're never held accountable for their actions. That's why they have the freedom of, you know, I can get away with it regardless. And nothing will happen.
True.
So, I don't know. Even like, I was reading the paper the other day. One of these, the fraud, is it money laundering unit in the police? One of the guys, it's in the papers, by the way, guys. These are not things that I just, you know what I mean? It's in the papers. Yeah. It turns out, with the whole SME situation. Yeah. It turns out these guys were already informed about, like, look, there's something suspicious happening. Like, I think you guys should really look into this, because I feel like this is going to be embarrassing for everybody once the shit comes out. And then it turns out this lead investigator, right? Yeah. He got, I don't know, along the way, he got a $350,000 loan from the same bank he's supposed to be investigating. So it's like, man, what the fuck? Like, that's strange.
But, okay, I didn't read it. But did he get the loan?
He got like 2 months after he was informed. I think like 2 months after they informed about like suspicious transactions in the bank.
But then if it's a loan, he was liable to pay it back.
Loan.
Okay. We're going to use loan with inverted commas.
Yeah. I have my suspicions. I mean, I could be wrong, but you are the head of a unit that's supposed to be investigating these weird things, and the same bank that you're investigating gives you a loan. Strange, isn't it?
Depends. I'll still stick to the loan part, the fact that it's a loan. Because I mean, if he can say what it was for, and if he got the loan through the right procedure, then
by all means, yeah, that's true. It's just the stigma around SME bank also.
Yeah, true.
I think that's the only reason why I even read that article. Because I'm like, oh wow.
And plus, I don't think our journalists have much to report on, because they report quite on a lot of non-serious issues. I'll just leave it at that, because it's becoming a joke paper, especially the Namibian.
It's a lot of things going around. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so it's like not newsworthy news makes it to the front page.
True, I've been saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and then we don't focus on things that actually
matter.
Basically, yeah.
But you're a journalist as well, right? Or
no, I'm just a writer.
You're just a writer.
Yes, I would never. Hell no.
You never dabble in it?
No. I've dealt with journalists. I just don't think it's a job for me, because people would take offense at things or the questions I would ask.
Okay, fair enough. But you're a blogger.
I'm a blogger, but then the blogging is mostly around the idea, because one of the articles I wrote was back then when Steffi van Wyk won Miss Namibia, the lady that was also on Survivor Series South Africa, something. The very muscular lady.
Okay, sure.
No, I love her. She was my sports coach, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I love her, right? But there was this whole thing, and it's still something they do, and I don't know why our Namibian people, in fact, our government likes doing it. We outsource the work to South Africans or people from other country, and that for me is bullshit. Sorry for the word, but it doesn't work in my books. If you're gonna empower the people, then give the job to the people, and that's how you're gonna empower the people and create employment. Yeah. Now, all her dresses were made by South African designers. Ooh, so that's basically them discrediting our designers. And that's one of, just to give an example, one of the things I blogged about.
What was the response?
The response was quite good from the creative industry. Of course, they were agreeing.
Of course,
and
they support you obviously, because they're actually right.
Yeah, and it wasn't all negative, because in the article I did praise her for being the only woman to win all the sports codes when she was partaking in Miss World, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because okay, I get your point. So we really do need to empower our own people. But here's the situation, right? This was regarding the elections that happened. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year, November. Okay. Or the year before that. Depends which elections.
Regardless. But a lot of people, I think, will be familiar with this situation where the ballot papers were printed in essay.
Exactly. You see?
Yeah, okay, cool. That right there was a thing of, okay, this is total bullshit. You can't talk about empowering our people, yet you're doing this. But on the flip side, knowing I've been associated with a couple of certain entrepreneurs here and there, and one of the arguments for me was one of the strongest arguments was the fact that these guys have a tendency of inflating their prices, which basically forces these guys, our government, to look for cheaper options. Because imagine, I'm not entirely sure about the figures, but let's say this is a hypothetical, right? You guys can look it up yourselves. But if I can print something for $1 million, right? Let's say after all the variables are calculated, all the cost, I'm going to make $1 million. certain people here have a tendency of inflating it. Like, okay, cool, I want to make for 10 million.
True, but I want to disagree.
That's the whole point of the show. Why you want to disagree with that?
And this is where the corruption comes in. Right?
Yeah, it's true.
Recently, there was the tender given out for the sanitizers by Ministry of Defense. And that has been a very hot topic, right? And you mentioned that why they opt for
cheaper solutions.
Cheaper.
At least affordable solutions. Let me not say cheap, affordable solutions.
Yes. It's because these guys tend to inflate their rates. That is a different case with Ministry of Defense. I'm actually just looking for the screenshot because one of the ladies who also applied for the tender came forth and was like, she feels they're being ripped off because this tender was awarded to somebody or a company whose sanitizers do not meet the necessary requirements.
Okay.
So the World Health Organization has set out the requirements, for sanitizers. Like the alcohol percentage needs to be high because the idea is to kill
the germs completely.
The germs, yeah. And this lady came out.
Was it in the newspapers or just like a?
No, just like a post basically.
Twitter.
Basically Twitter, and she posted basically what she posted was what they had quoted for the tender and what was actually awarded, and these prices are crazy because what she quoted was reasonable. They gave the tender to an inflated rate that they received. Okay. So this then makes me question how many other tenders are being done in this way.
It's actually a thing of the people awarding the tenders probably have a stake.
Exactly.
So that's the thing.
Yeah. And how many of the tenders that are being dished out, don't have people who are on the tender board or the selection committee that have a stake in this.
That's the thing. It's a conflict of interest. I don't know if people see it or they choose just not or to ignore it. I don't know. But these things, they happen quite often, man. This is nothing new.
Exactly. So
and it's sad to say it even.
So for me, the using South African company to print the ballot papers, it's just a cover up, or at least in my opinion. Somebody is getting a share somewhere.
So yeah, I think so too.
They are just using that as a cover up to say that yes, it's a South African institution. We're not connected to it. We have no relation to it. So nobody's gonna question.
Hey man, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I love diving into little conspiracies here and there. I feel like it's entertaining. And until it starts to affect you like in a really bad way.
And it does affect us.
It is.
Like a lot of us don't realize that it does affect us. Like whatever is happening in this country, like top decisions being taken, like it's literally affecting us every day.
Do you know what I'm feeling right now? Especially like in the coming years, I don't think there's gonna be like a middle class at all.
A
middle class. It's just gonna be rich and poor. Because slowly but surely, if you think about it, middle class, we're on the brink of not wealth, but getting rich. But we're also on that brink of just getting dirt poor.
You see, now that's the issue that our leaders make. So the definition of rich, wealthy, poor.
Yeah.
This was what was taught to us in school, and so the United States, the UN, and all these bodies have a definition for rich, poor, and wealthy. So most Namibians who can commute daily to work and back are considered to be rich.
Okay.
Because the average human being should at least be able to spend $2
on average
a day.
a day.
Yeah, the average rich person. Yes.
And these are based off American
And all these
research,
international organizations. So what our politicians did was they just sort of took this, and that is why they can't break the inequality gap.
Mm-hmm.
And because to them, as long as people can commute back to work, go to work, come back, get a salary for them that is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then that doesn't allow people to actually break into the other gap of becoming wealthy, or at least getting to the brink of being wealthy.
Sucks, right?
Because now you're just spending.
Mm-hmm.
There's no money to save.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What was telling me? Something about a salary being like a trap, basically. No, not all of it. Don't get it twisted, guys. It's just people who continue to live paycheck to paycheck. And don't get me wrong, guys, because for me, I've been fortunate enough to figure a few things out for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't judge people based on what they do or where they're from. However, there are certain people who just have this thing of living paycheck to paycheck, which is very worrying because they're not necessarily thinking about, okay, I need to save this, I need to put this away. And I'm considering certain factors as well, man. You got maybe like 10 people living under one roof, man, maybe under like a 3-bedroom. I get that, but it's also a thing of we need to be smart. And it's unfortunate that we were never literally taught about financial literacy as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the few things I'm still wondering why aren't being introduced into schools, especially primary schools. To be honest, dude, kids are not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are they're imaginative and very, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't we introducing certain things like this to our youngins? Man?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you think, and to everybody who's listening, our education system is really meant to empower us?
Fuck no.
Exactly.
I'm sorry for saying that. but it's just I've come to terms with it. Like, yeah, no ways.
Exactly. That's why they'll never introduce things like financial literacy and all these other aspects. Because formal education is just that.
Yeah.
If you do not have skills development beyond that, you're probably gonna mess up in life.
True.
So I don't think the system was made to empower us.
That's true. Because imagine, I remember, that's so weird, man. Okay, so me and my friend were, I think we're studying for history, a history exam, and it was fun. It was all good, man. It was all good. We're learning about certain things, and so that was like 2012. I think it's 2012. So we were kind of I think we're stuck with something, man, with a particular topic.
Yeah.
And then we're asking around. No one really knew what to do. And we happened to ask his mom. And his mom was like, "Oh, you guys are doing this. Oh, I remember I did this when I was in school." At that time, we didn't think too much of it. But then I began to process. I'm like, wait, aren't you in your late 40s? And you actually know what we're still doing.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, man. And I'm like, oh my God, we're actually being taught something that that's repeating for 30 years plus.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Exactly. It's so repetitive. It's basically I don't know the English word.
Try your luck.
But a direct translation is a parrot method of taking you through the education system. Nothing has changed, even with the new curriculum, which is a whole mess, by the way.
There's a new curriculum?
Yeah, where people have the option of leaving school at grade 11.
Oh, but there's so much not backlash, but there's so much in betweens that people aren't necessarily familiar with.
Yeah, no, I don't. Okay, the system is not unfamiliar because you have a lot of the private schools already doing that, or they've been doing that for years. I just think they were supposed to bring in the private schools as consultants to properly phase in whatever it is they're trying to do.
Yeah.
But then also that's the thing. We're not going to use our own people. We're not going to empower our own people. We're just going to get some guy from
wherever
to come write a policy or curriculum and then give it to us, you know. The problem also with policies is they are written by people, not by our people specifically. Yeah. So a lot of times we can't relate to them. Oh my God. And we can't implement them because the person went back to their country already. They're not here to explain the nitty-gritties of the policy. So I think this is also why, you know, things like the schools and whatnot is failing.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have kids who, perform poorly in English and do really well in all everything the other subjects. Yeah. What could be the problem? Because for me, denying a child like that entry to university...
Yeah, because of a fucking language, eh?
Because of a language does not make sense.
Yeah, and because it seems like this is something that people are really familiar with. They know that that's a problem with some of these kids, but yet nothing's being done.
Nothing is being done.
Yeah. But you as a parent, though, how do you feel about sending your kids to school right now? Or your child to school right now?
I don't know. I homeschool all my kids.
You homeschool the...
Yeah, no.
Are you homeschooling your daughter right now?
No, she's going to an early childhood center. She's like 5, right? Okay. But that's also because I believe she's in her development.
No, it's important to establish that fundamental. Yeah, fundamentals.
She's in that phase where she's literally gonna absorb anything. I send her for the sake of sending her, but then I expose her to so much more than just school.
What do you expose her, Kevin? I want to know. Give me a few.
You know, it's like I was going to the conservancies for a trip, and I learned so much, and so much as in cultural, educational. Yeah, our people out there in the rural areas, like, and I say deep rural, right?
Deep rural, okay.
Because a lot of these kids don't go to school.
Not at all.
But a lot of them are actually quite really smart, you know.
Is that street smart?
Not street smart, but they have connected to Mother Nature.
Okay.
Yeah, so like somebody like that is quite fundamental to life. They add to the value of life. Because you can just go onto YouTube and Google video of the Bushman and the lion, and normally when these guys come into contact with a lion, they just start speaking in their tongues. This is now when they're hunting, right? Because also what they do is whenever they hunt, and let's say with their spears or whatever, bow and arrows, they shoot an antelope and they sort of hurt it but not kill it. They won't go for something else because firstly they know that they've already hurt that animal. It has poison in it. So if that animal dies, it affects the whole ecosystem. Something's going to come eat from it, and that something's going to be poisoned. Yeah. It's going to poison the ground, whatever. So they chase after it. So there's this video where their prey is right there that they're still chasing because they've hurt it already. And the lion is then approaching. And they start speaking in tongues, right? Okay. And they're all these guys filming. And, you know, because they're very interesting people.
Of course.
And they start speaking in their tongues. And this lion turns around and walks away. You know, it doesn't go for
the antelope
that's hurt, that can't really run away. And when they are asked, you know, how they did it. They're like, we spoke to the lion basically in our language, and that is that is a sign of how connected they are with nature. So the whole idea of the ecosystem, that was interesting because that's something you would learn in a science class, a biology class, whatever you call it, But then these people out there sit with this knowledge and are not exposed to, giving this knowledge to the next generation. Yeah.
Damn.
Makes you think.
It makes you think, actually.
Yeah.
But it's kind of why people like me and you actually exist right now, because we're trying to shift that dynamic at least. Because at the end of the day, imagine someone listening to this 2 years from now, or even 10 years from now.
Yeah.
They'll just be like, damn, that actually makes sense. And not only that, they'll actually force them to read up on a lot of things.
Exactly. Exactly.
So I think our mission right now is to plant the seeds and hope for the best.
No, they'll definitely grow.
They'll definitely grow, yeah.
At least I'm positive in that regard.
Yeah.
It's the same. A colleague of mine asked me the other day, you've seen how messed up the education system is. What are you going to do about it? And that's a really, really tough question to answer. But, what we can do right now is just educate the masses, give them a message, Because 2 years, 10 years from now, somebody listens and they're like, okay. Maybe. Or
Just
I've
maybe.
experienced this. Let me also share my experiences further. Yeah. So I guess that way for now.
Hey, man. The fact that you said that actually makes me want to go check that thing up.
No, you should.
On YouTube, right?
Yeah, on YouTube. I think I'll send you links.
Yeah, send me the link, please. I need to figure it out. But yeah, we're talking about all these things. We see the problem, and talking about it and actually doing something about it, completely two different things. But one thing about you is that you told me once you actually established a foundation, right?
Community based.
Goes hand in hand.
Same thing, basically, different words.
Okay. Is your organization all about exactly? How would you define it?
It's an educational organization.
Like strictly. Okay.
The one that I initially started.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's it called before you even get into it?
It's called Belvicha Education Initiative for Namibia.
Okay.
First, it was established with a German wing, but then it didn't make sense to have an education initiative for Namibia in Germany if its projects are not being carried out in Namibia. Yeah. So it was started here as well, and what the German wing basically does is they educate high school kids and primary school kids on the narrative of Africa. This whole concept that Africa is a country, Africans are primitive beings.
Wait, what the?
No, they do away with that.
Oh, okay, whoa.
So teaching people that, that's not the reality. Because surprisingly, a lot of people still think that.
People are naive, yo.
Yeah, people think we sleep in trees.
Yeah, like we have lions in our streets. And like, bro, that's not the case,
It's like how when that team, the German team, came to Namibia, they could relate to the buildings, a lot of the buildings and the structures, because it's basically...
They were built by them.
Yeah. So life, especially in Windhoek, is similar to that in an average German town. Yeah. So these are the narratives they're trying to change on the other side, so that when these kids, because a lot of or majority of our tourists come from Germany, so when these kids do come, then they know to expect the reality that's on the ground and not
that's cool.
Want to see lines in town.
Yeah. No, guys, we say these things not because it's a joke, but I've heard these things. I'm just like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's so that's what we do. What we do is we support basic education. When I was privileged enough to go to a good school, but then you look at other people who drop out first year varsity, who don't know what to study, who, when they do know what to study, we know funding is an issue in our country, especially with this NASFAF, declining so many people's applications.
Hey man, yeah.
For whatsoever reasons they have. And then there's also the issue of people getting internships, because somewhere you need to gain practical experience.
Yeah.
So that's what Velviture focuses on. Getting people the opportunities. There are opportunities out there. We're just not well exposed to them. Scholarships, bursaries, grants, whatsoever. And then also writing to companies to then offer students internships and so forth. Yeah. So, and also taking them through aptitude test, just to see in which field they're likely to go into or where the interest actually lies. Yeah. So something like that, just so that we don't have a lot of lost souls that go to varsity for the sake of, I want to be in university, and first year I'm studying medicine and then I drop out. Second year I'm studying something else, or I'm studying this because it's what my parents told me to study. But then if your parents actually have proof of this is what your child's aptitude test said, you can work on that,
I mean, I don't think most parents want to involve in art, especially if that's something the kid is probably likely to succeed, as common interest in. So
yeah, that's the sad part.
How you're gonna change that mentality? That's challenging, eh?
I would leave that to the arts industry, because there's quite a huge gap they're not filling, and that is educating our people as to how important the arts industry is. It's how you mentioned comedians take something and make it a joke so that we can laugh about it. It's how let's say painters and whatnot take a horrific story and interpret it in their own unique way, and we can sometimes relate to it, right? And that is the power that artists have. Musicians, what designers, they incorporate these ideas, so they have a big responsibility in educating our people as to how important it is and how vital it is for us to have art, basically. And they're doing that, sadly, because I don't see what the National Arts Council does. I see they give out scholarships and that's it. I see they sponsor here, they sponsor there, but what is really their mandate? Does their mandate speak to what they're doing on the ground? Yet the National Arts Gallery, yes, they're doing an amazing job giving, and the theater is supposed to do so much more than that.
What else
they're supposed to incorporate dancing, filming. Yeah.
I thought that's what they've been doing.
No, they've not been doing that. They've been because I think not last year, the year before last year, at the Theatre Awards, they did mention that they at the next, because it's biannual, so every 2 years they're going to incorporate dancing into their award ceremony.
Every 2 years.
Yeah, so the award ceremony only happens every 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
yeah, no, it's cool.
Okay, you're saying?
Yeah, so it's basically what they need to do, but then also the arts industry is so divided because a lot of them are freelancers. Gigs are very rare, and they are not supported by the systems that are in place. So, yeah.
I mean, even now with the national budget gonna be coming up, I'm actually interested to see how much the arts department is likely to get.
Don't depend on it. Every year, literally.
But here's the thing, right? Arts and culture are the things that really give us some sort of identity, right?
True.
So whenever we have certain people coming through to our, to visit our beautiful country, whatever the case may be, I always found it strange that the number one people they call are the art students, the dancers. Yet you want these people to entertain these people. You want these people to show that this is our culture, this is all the things, but you're not investing in them.
Exactly. Not to compare, but the arts industry in or the rate of industry rather. Let me be inclusive.
Okay.
In Germany, contributes 1% of towards the country's GDP,
Okay.
and that's a lot.
Wow, I did not know that.
That's how much they invest in arts and culture. And the sad thing is, you people who are from there who look forward to, arts and culture in Namibia, and they see some of it, but due to the fact that there's investment being put in the arts industry, it's not quite visible.
No, it's not actually. And you guys also not protected. I mean, even the musicians themselves. I don't NASCAM even does, to be honest with you.
NASCAM is a scam.
Like
the name says it.
Yeah. Like to this very day, I really don't know what the sole purpose is. Because yes, I know as an organization what they're, but it's like it's not enough, man.
No, it's not. It's not. That's why I said all these bodies that are there, that are meant to do something, are not doing anything at all. Because I mean, their board members get a salary, mind you. Because people are paying membership fees.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Paying membership fees. Royalties is being received by NASCAM. Not even sure what the rate is for royalties. But I don't think they are there for the musicians and songwriters as they should be.
Basically, any creative, really.
Yeah. Big Ben was ranting about NASCAM the one time.
Like recently or a while back?
Last year, I think. And how much of a scam they are. Because he also served on the board.
Oh, so he got like first-hand look at...
Yeah, so he was speaking from his experience and how much of a scam the institution is.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I've lost faith in that institution. In fact, I don't see the need for a musician or an artist to register with NASCAM because they don't do it for them.
But it's like one of those formalities, man.
Yeah, it's one of those formalities, but as an institution, formalities, you're supposed to
also do your part, yeah. Because I don't think people can actually even submit their music to the awards.
If they're not
I think they're not registered.
Registered. It's just a way for them to lock people and to get more membership. Because, I mean, if my song is doing well on iTunes, why should I start with NASCAM?
Yeah, and that's also the other side. This is like every artist that I also like to bring on. They all keep telling me the same thing. Like independency is the way forward. It's just how you go about it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you don't need these guys. You don't need these labels, all these people. I mean, yeah, if you want to register for, not register, if you want to take. But at the end of the day, and I hate to say it, but you don't need these people at all. Build your core fan base. That 2,500 fans, those strong core fan base, they're gonna get you paid.
Exactly.
So don't worry about whether we, because some of us do. We know we do how to go about doing more for you apart from putting you and talking about you. But at the end of the day, establish your core fan base. You will be fine. You'll be solid.
Exactly. No, and plus there's no numbers anymore.
Oh, so that's official, eh?
Yeah. So
why? What's the reason behind it?
Well, from what I've heard, MTC is investing in something else, which is the Windhoek Fashion
Week. Oh, Fashion Week, right?
Yeah, basically the Windhoek Fashion Show.
Okay.
And that was their new focus area.
Why not just keep? Okay, I understand it's a business. You're trying to diversify your portfolio, trying to keep money here and there, but why not keep both on board if that is true? Because one side you're promoting music, and the other side you're promoting creative designers. So like it all goes hand in hand if you think about it.
I'm not sure. I just think our government was supposed to come up with a national platform where our artists could be awarded. We all remember Cora Awards.
Ooh.
And
till this day, no answers. Man.
Yes, and
No answers.
how that went south, right? And that was an opportunity for them to actually, because if that was going to be successful, that was an international music award show.
Yeah.
Was supposed to be. If that was going to be successful, they would have most likely had a successful national award show thereafter. But then that already flopped, so clearly a national award show is not going to work.
So much BS going on, man. It's entertaining, but I said until it affects you, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And this is the money of the people disappearing.
Yeah, taxpayers, all of us. Really.
All of us, basically. Because, I mean, even a child who buys bread in the shop pays tax on that bread.
They like to admit it or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's the people's money.
Yeesh. Where were we?
Yeah. I also got sidetracked.
Oh my god. Damn. I'm gonna edit out.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. Thank God it's not live.
Oh, you've had a live one?
Yeah, one or two.
Okay.
But that's just based on those guys' page. I was like, I'm gonna wait for my shit. I gotta establish my thing first.
Okay, cool.
And it's hot as fuck. That's okay. Sorry guys for the technical difficulty. We are back again. Gotta sugarcoat it, man. Just gotta sugarcoat it. But yeah, man. NASCAM is a scam. Apparently. But the thing is, but as at least people who are operating in this industry, music-wise, there has to be someone who's going to come up with an idea for an award show, because these guys have to be recognized regardless.
Yeah, no. What is the platform? Donlu.
Yeah, Donlu.
Is it pronounced as Donlu?
Yeah, Donlu. I don't know how it's pronounced. That's how I say it.
I also say it that
exactly.
way.
That's how it's gonna be then.
They wanted to have a music festival.
Yeah.
Last year. And somewhere I think when Luvialan posted something about an award show. So
yeah,
I mean, given that they're the biggest job platform
right now in Namibia,
right now in Namibia, it wouldn't be shabby. What would be cool is to see that other institutions, especially corporate institutions, even the government themselves, collaborating with them to, get a real big, massive award show going.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
That would be dope. I've actually had a conversation with him about the festival and all these things. And it was actually like really, it was refreshing to know that there is someone looking out for these guys also.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, if you need help, I'm willing to help all the way, because I want to see this actually work out. Last year, COVID
came.
I don't know. The thing is, I don't think this whole thing has actually deterred his goal.
No, it hasn't.
I just feel like I think it's just a matter of him re-strategizing again.
Yeah, and I think it's the idea that all these regulations are being imposed. That would prevent him from having a proper award. Because if you have a restriction of 100 people, then that of course deters your attendance.
Yeah. But regardless, though, they're doing good things, though.
No, they are.
I actually read something. I think might be hosting podcasts on there.
Oh, no, definitely.
That would be really, really, really cool. Can't wait to see more people actually.
Because I see they also have a charting something for the songs. And it would be cool if that's recognized internationally, because we don't have any charting platforms.
Not at all, hey?
Yeah.
Man. Like, our form of at least finding out what's charting is listen to radio.
Basically. But then...
So what? Feel like you're gonna shit on people. What's up?
I feel a lot of it is biased. It's a you should know me, I should know you type of situation.
Oof, right on the head.
Because I mean, I've been able to get free interviews because I know people.
So you're just as guilty.
No, but that's. I justify my course with the fact that you can't want to make me pay for an interview if I'm coming to speak about something that's going to benefit the masses.
Okay, that's your argument.
Yeah.
Enough.
Everybody or every institution should practice corporate social responsibility.
True.
And in one way or the other, they should help in making our communities better. So if it means getting the information out there to the people, then why not host the person for free?
Might as well.
Exactly. But that's just an example, you know. There are institutions that asked me to pay, which is quite redundant.
Look, I get it if I make money, but at the end of the day, like I said in the beginning, man, we are already at a disadvantage just from our population alone. Yes, if the person is, maybe it turns out to the interview, you know, smelling of liquor, you know, yeah, that's good enough for a reason to be like, no, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there are some people who have so much to say and so much to give. So it's just unfortunate that these platforms don't look at that as much of a big reason as opposed to getting paid.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I'm here.
Exactly. No.
I'm trying.
This is why we have these platforms,
Yeah.
you know, where we can freely express ourselves. And because I think that's also the issue with radio stations. They wouldn't want you to say certain things, or they wouldn't want to air certain things, you know, that would sound prejudice or like you're coming for certain individuals.
Like for me, I curse a lot, so I believe they're gonna be bleeping every time. But on the other hand, also look, an interview for 30, 20 minutes. I feel I equate that to, you know, you trying to tweet something. You can only get so much from 150 characters, right?
Yeah.
There's only so much you can say. So like the reason why I extend these ones on my episodes is because if I say something, I at least have an opportunity to back it up.
Exactly.
You see, we were going back and forth with the things earlier on. I don't think we'll be able to have that kind of conversation on a radio station. Because I know we're on short time, or like saying you can't say this. And like I don't want to restrict people.
And those 20 minutes include music break and
that's how it works.
Yeah, all the shenanigans.
It's like a full on.
No, they never let you speak full out. Like, yeah.
Okay, hey man, you learn something new every day.
I know. You just sit there and then you're like, it was basically 5 minutes.
Yes.
Because the song is what? 3 minutes minimum.
Depending which one is playing, could be 6, could be 7. You're just like, oh my god.
Exactly.
Oh. I don't know, man. Like I said, I created this platform for a reason. Initially, I didn't know why. I just knew I wanted to do it. But like speaking to people like yourself and other people, it's all playing out now. Because I'm like, oh, okay. I think this is actually why. I never had the reason. I never really knew why I wanted to do it, but now I'm figuring out the reason behind it. And it's like, okay, let's go along with it. Let's see how far we get.
And the name is catchy even.
It is, eh?
No, it is, because automatically it makes you question, like, what is this? What's going on? What is it about? You know, what do people actually discuss here? And then you go to YouTube and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Obviously, right now, majority of the people that come through are good friends of mine. And that's not, and trust me, that's not me trying to be biased. It's just these are the people who are available to me, and also like talking to them, like yourself. I'm like, so what? Let me just invite them. People have been from different backgrounds, which is also dope. But it's just fun to talk to people. I like figuring out new things.
So is this like a season?
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. Someone asked me that. I'm like, I really don't care. Like I just
Okay. So the episodes will just
it's gonna be coming depending how I feel. Obviously things do change over time and stuff, but I'm not really thinking too much of it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to see, okay, what did I learn today? What I learned this week? Okay, this is how I should do it. Because imagine right now, like I think I said this on my last podcast, my last episode. I was like, I'm actually excited to see who's gonna be my first sponsor for the show.
And okay, interesting. When when you speak of sponsorship, in what sense?
We can either buy maybe like a little ad space from me, because right now it's really a game of numbers right now.
Yeah.
The more my numbers are, the more viewers I have, the more likely I could sell that product.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've probably seen it all over YouTube. That's what they do. So for me, I'm just like anticipating who would I approach, or who would approach me. Because don't get it twisted, guys. You guys think that brands are just gonna come to you? No.
You need to work.
And you also have to approach them. Because for me, as you can see, guys, as you can see at least, I got gin bottles, right? So clearly I have a thing for gin.
Yeah.
So hey, man, any distilleries want to promote that brand, I'm definitely gonna take them on.
Okay, cool. And what I wanted to ask also was, would it just be studio based, or at some point is it?
That will really depend on. I would love it to be studio based, because obviously this is still the beginning. There's still a lot of things to be done, but it will also kind of depend probably on the guest that I get.
Yeah.
Because let's say Monica Gang goes like, yo, I like your show. Would you come? I'll take my shit to her place. I'm like, hey, let's create a little atmosphere, and let's we set up the mics and we hang out.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm open to a lot of things. I'm not restricting myself.
Okay. No, there's just so much running through my head right now, because like, what if I want an ad space for Kevin?
Ooh, if you want to add space for Kevin.
How does that work?
So here's my understanding of podcasts as far as advertising. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna fuck up the terminology. That's not even that crazy. It's just the fact that in every podcast, if you listen to a podcast now, you would see or you'd hear in the beginning.
Yeah.
They'll probably like advertise something.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I think that's called a pre-reel. I think that's a pre-reel. So let's say you're just gonna buy that 30 seconds of me talking about your product, and that's your ad space that you buy. And then there's now post reel, which is basically now during the whole conversation right now, I would maybe like stop and be like, okay, you know what, guys, have you heard of this product? Yada yada yada. Or there's going to be a transition for me to actually, So it's really you just buying 30 seconds of space or more of me talking about your product. But one thing that I'm advised on, at least what these sites advise me on, is it's better. You'll find you'd be much more convincing selling that product when you actually use it, or you're actually familiar with it.
True.
You know, because if you tell me to sell beard oil and I don't use your beard oil, believe it or not, it's gonna be hard to convince people like, this is the shit, unless you're a psychopath and you just know what to say. But yeah, that's basically what I figured out.
Sounds like a plan.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Two questions following. Do you have a price list for this? Because also, let's say your potential first sponsor is listening, and it's like, okay, cool. This is definitely somebody I can approach. Do you have a price list already? Working on it. Okay.
Because initially I didn't even think too much of it, because everyone was like, oh, you don't have good numbers. I'm like, who said it won't grow? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm preparing myself already.
Yeah.
So I'm already drafting up these things.
And would you be limited by certain factors? Let's say political affiliation, cultural affiliations. Because I believe the name says otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, but then also depends on.
Yeah. I know.
Provider.
It would be a matter of me going through. Okay, I'm like, okay, so this is what. Why not? But like I said, I'm not limited to certain things. But one thing I don't want to do is like spread gossip. I'm not like a gossip blog, so I don't want to hear that shit. But nah, I'm open to a lot of things, politics, culture, anything. Because that's what basically this thing all about. It's like, you even know why I started this thing, like why I even call it State of Mind. Because initially I used to have this handle I used to use a lot, My State of Mind, and that was just based off things that I read or experienced, and I just felt like, you know what, this has nothing to do with anybody or trying to hurt anybody's feelings. This is just what I'm thinking. Right? So that shit just transitioned into now. So like everybody that comes here, you have your own state of mind. You're all going through something.
Yeah, true.
So I want you to voice that out. So I'm like,
okay.
Compelling.
Yes. No, because I've got like so many things running through my head right now, and I'm like, because also, you know, I always think of how young people can express themselves. Because the way we express ourselves on a tweet wouldn't be generally the way we express ourselves by speaking. So like, you know, I've always wanted a platform where young people can just come in and discuss whatever it is they want to discuss, as long as it's not prejudice towards
other people and stuff.
Other people.
I totally get you.
Yeah, I mean, things they go through on a daily basis, their home experiences, whatever the case it may be. But just because it also gives you that relief feeling once you're done speaking about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so, I'm kind of already processing it. That's why I asked about the sponsorship and...
No, it's I like it. I like people also engaging with me, man. It makes the show interesting, at least for me.
Yeah.
But hey, man, it's been over an hour actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, you'll edit it.
Like I said, this is a little time capsule. I just want everyone, as soon as you step in here, you know, all the problems out in the world, we'll leave it outside and we'll just focus on this moment right now.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
No. Thank you for having me, actually.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah. Okay, dude. I don't know. I keep saying it, but the visuals will be. I'll have visuals soon. That's all I can say. Yeah, I don't want to promise people anything anymore. Because there's so many in betweens, man.
Yeah,
just like,
that would be actually more interesting because you want to see people's expression.
Yes.
You want to actually see what they, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that means I have to get like groomed, shaved every other.
Yeah, you see, I was just doing something with my face now. And you guys can't see it. But yeah, that is the point of having visuals.
But they gotta see your element as well. You gotta see my good side and bad side.
True.
Yeah.
True. And then this would also give an idea, because I mean, if people only know Patrick, a certain type of Patrick, they would see a different version of Patrick because he's in his element. He's expressing his state of mind.
Catchy, right? Yeah, but thank you so much, Kevin. This was awesome. I can't wait for more episodes, more conversations, more everything, really, man.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. And what I would tell everybody out there is, like, guys, listen to what people have to say on here. Yeah. Because I'm sure we all have something to learn. I learned about podcasts today. Like, literally. Everything podcast related. Yeah. And he's also an amazing graphic designer. You know, always referring people to him and telling them it's my friend.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Even
but,
though
you need to give credit where it's due. So if it is good work, then yeah, I would refer people to you, definitely. So.
I appreciate it. Kevin, any more last words for the people? Any last piece of advice you'd like to give people, the listeners, right now?
Probably a topic suggestion for next time that I would come on again. What you guys would like to hear us discuss, or just dive into.
So basically, Kevin's asking you guys to get in the comments and let us know what would you like to hear. What would you like to hear us talk about? And we will definitely dive in, even for 2 hours straight. We'll figure out something. We'll definitely figure out something.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, bro.
All right. No, cool.
Can't wait.
Definitely looking forward to it.
So make sure, guys, you guys subscribe, like, do whatever it is that you gotta do, and let's get those numbers up. I appreciate you guys for listening right now, and to all the new subscribers coming in. It's gonna be a hell of a ride. But till we see each other again, peace. How's it? How'd you feel?
Type of lifestyle that we living over here is not the same. People say they never gon' change, but they change. Times are moving faster, ain't no time to switch a lane. Keep me out of range, they say nothing strange. Load my ammo in my clip and I go